Hello, welcome to Sarah Overbooked. I am Sarah. Again, the fan is going, same as our last video, to blow the smoke out the window, so hopefully it's not too loud. But I figured it's time I got back to doing some reviews. It's been a while. I think mostly it's because I read a lot of okay books. I don't have a whole bunch to say about any of these books. They were good, but they weren't great. So the first book I'm going to go through is Amari and the Despicable Wonders. I think that this is the worst book of the three in the series so far. The first one I liked. The second one I really liked. I really liked that one, gave that one 5 stars, and this one was just, it was alright. It had felt like a lot of the same points, did the same stuff as the first 2 books, wasn't a lot of new. And granted, I did read it about 2 months ago. That's how long it's been since I've done these reviews. But like I said, I just don't have a whole bunch to say. There was nothing empirically wrong with the book. It was a good story. It was a quick read, but just wasn't as good as the first 2. Because of that book, I'm not sure I'm going to continue on with the series. We'll see when the next one comes out, if I pick it up or not. The next book I read would be The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. Again, this was a good book. Nothing spectacular, but I didn't tell you anything about Amari. Amari, being the 3rd book, there's not much I can say specifically about that book, but it is a book about Amari who finds out that there is a supernatural world, and gets drawn into it. And when she's there, she finds that she's a magician, which is an illegal being in the supernatural world. And she has to find her way in the world. When throughout the series, she finds that there are more magicians. They're in hiding, and they are coming out of hiding, and there's a war going on. So, The Lost Apothecary, this is a story, a dual timeline story about a woman in our time who is having marital issues. She goes on her anniversary trip without her husband because he cheated on her, and she just needed to get away, and she wanted to be a historian, but gave up that life because of the marriage. But while she's on the vacation, she finds a piece of glass, and it brings her to research the background of the glass. And the background of the glass is the other timeline, the Lost Apothecary, which is the story of a woman who ran a apothecary back in the 1800s, I believe it is, where she would, to help women, bake up poisons or tinctures to kill men that had done them wrong. So she had made basically that she put a false wall into her building to hide her shop, and that shop is still there, and the woman in our time finds it. It was an interesting story. Definitely the story about the apothecary herself and her making the poisons, and the stories about those was more interesting than the now timeline, which is a issue with a lot of dual timeline books where one story is just not as good as the other one, and this one had that issue for me. Definitely not bad, but nothing great either. Not a waste of my time. I enjoyed the book, just it was alright. The next book I read, A is for Alibi by Sue Grafton. I've had this on my shelf for years. I picked it up thinking, hey, she's written, what did she write? She wrote 25 because she never was able to finish the series of these books. People love them. Thought I'd try it. It was good, but not spectacular. Nothing that I am going to run out and buy the whole series for. It was definitely a quick read, but I can't really tell you much about it anymore. I don't remember much, but these types of books, I kind of equate with that. You read them for a palate cleanser and then you forget about them. So again, good read, but nothing special. Let's see, Kinsey Malone is a private, she's a private investigator, and somebody got out of jail who was put in jail for murdering her husband, and she hired Kinsey to find the actual murder because she says she didn't do it. And the rest, I don't really remember, but that's the basis of the story. The fourth book I'm going to go over is My Darling Girl by Jennifer McMahon, I believe it is. I did this one audiobook, so while I was driving back and forth, and I was happily surprised, because most of my audiobooks I have issues paying attention. That's why I do it while I'm driving, and just a little bit, and I usually pick books that I'm like, I probably wouldn't like it much anyway, but I liked this one enough that I actually listened to it at home, so that I could absorb more of the story. It was a book about a mother of two children who, her own mother is getting old and needs to move in, even though her mother was not a spectacularly good mother. There was abuse, and odd behaviors when she was younger, and they didn't really stay in touch very well. Just a couple of times they would talk to each other, and then she got the call that her mother was cancer, and her mom wanted to move in with her so she could spend her last days with family. They agreed to it, and weird things started happening at the house when Mom got there. There was a rock, a crystal that she had gotten from her best friend, that had possessed her, and that is the root of the bad and odd behaviors. And the mom, the main character, I don't remember her name, and I don't have the book to look it up. She researched and tried and thought she had gotten rid of it, but did she really? So she does some research and goes through this ritual to get rid of the crystal so that the possession on the family can stop, because she was afraid that it was going to pass on to her younger daughter. It was, again, a good book, better than I expected it to be, but nothing spectacular. Though of these four, it was probably the one I liked the best. So that is this reading update. Not so recent. These are all books I read in November, I believe, or no, October still, I believe. I have to finish, let's see, yeah, I have to finish October's books and all of November, and get started on the December updates. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.